Echoes of the Gods, Season 1, Episode 4. The Serpent Crown, Bloodlines of the Gods. Before the serpent was feared, it was revered. Before it became a symbol of deception, it was a symbol of authority. Across the ancient world, one image appears again and again carved into stone, placed upon crowns, woven into ritual and royalty. The serpent. From Africa to Asia, from the Nile to the Americas, this symbol carried meaning that far predates modern religion. This episode is not about monsters. It is not about superstition. It is about memory. Because symbols do not appear everywhere by accident. When ancient peoples across continents separated by oceans and time share the same symbols of power, knowledge, and kinship, we must ask a deeper question. What did they know that we later forgot? Tonight, we explore the serpent crown and the bloodlines that wore it. This is Echoes of the Gods. In the modern world, the serpent is often seen as a creature of danger. But to ancient humanity, the serpent represented something entirely different.
Snakes shed their skin. To early civilizations, this was not simply biology. It was symbolic resurrection, a creature that could renew itself.
A being that could pass through death and emerge transformed. This is why the serpent became associated with life force, healing, and continuity. In many African traditions, serpents were never feared as demons. They were guardians, messengers, carriers of sacred energy. The serpent symbol did not crawl in shame. It stood upright in meaning. To understand the serpent crown, we must first release ourselves from modern interpretations and return to ancient eyes. In Africa, symbolism was never decorative. It was functional. Symbols communicated hierarchy, authority, and cosmic alignment. Among ancient African kingdoms, serpents were closely associated with royalty and divine favor. In Kemet, known today as ancient Egypt, the cobra was placed on the crown of pharaohs. This cobra, known as the uraeus, was not a threat. It was protection. Only the pharaoh wore it, not priests, not nobles, not warriors. The serpent crown marked the ruler as one who governed with both earthly and cosmic authority. To attack the king was to challenge the divine order itself. Across West Africa, serpent symbolism appeared in priesthoods, royal lineages, and spiritual guardianship traditions. Among the Yoruba, symbols of serpentine power were associated with wisdom, fertility, continuity, and sacred balance. These were not fictional gods in the modern sense. They were personifications of natural and cosmic principles, preserved through story. Across cultures, one detail repeats. The serpent is placed near the head, the forehead, the crown. This placement is not random. Ancient cultures understood the head as the seat of perception, vision, awareness, and decision. To wear a crown was not merely to rule people. It was to align oneself with higher order. The serpent crown symbolized clarity, awareness, responsibility, not domination. The crown did not make the king divine. It reminded the king that power came with consequences. Many ancient rulers did not simply claim authority. They claimed ancestry. Genealogies were preserved, lineages recorded. Kings were said to descend from sacred founders, not necessarily gods as modern people imagine them, but exceptional ancestors remembered through myth. Myth was the language of memory. It preserved meaning when writing was rare. To say a king came from divine blood was to say, this ruler belongs to an unbroken lineage of order. As empires rose and belief systems shifted, symbols were reinterpreted. Old meanings were not erased. They were inverted. The serpent, once associated with wisdom and renewal, became associated with deception. Not because the serpent changed, but because power changed hands. What once legitimized African sovereignty had to be rebranded as dangerous. This is how control works. You do not destroy a symbol, you change its meaning. Symbols do not die. They sleep, they wait. Beneath culture, beneath fear, beneath forgetting. The serpent crown still appears. In art, in architecture, in modern insignia, in stories we half remember. History did not forget the serpent. We were taught to look away. The crown was never about domination. It was about responsibility. And those who wore it understood that power, without wisdom, leads only to collapse. History whispers. Myth remembers. These are the echoes of the gods.